Well, hey, today we've got Michael and Vanessa, and I'm excited to hear more. They're always doing very unique projects, and they're always so interesting. So, met them through Jake and Gino, become great friends. I really appreciate them. They've helped a lot with this meetup, and I really appreciate their support. And we'll get to hear maybe some of their story and some of what they're doing. So, Michael and Vanessa, take it away.
All right. Thank you so much. We're excited. Usually we're on the other end co-hosting, which is a little bit easier than actually presenting, but we're so honored to be able to, that Valerie asked us to present. And so when Michael and I kind of went to the drawing board about what topic we wanted to present on, one thing that we've always been able to do in our business is get creative. And not only in our business, but also our life, with our kids, with our marriage, with things at our house. So we said, well, let's get creative. And especially now that the market is the way it is, we are now having to kind of shift how we are looking at deals and getting more creative about that as well. So just a little background about us. Michael and I met very creatively at speed dating. So we were, trying to find our soulmates. It was not working, online dating, finding people at bars. And so we both went to speed dating and fell in love. It was love at first sight, right? And so that was in 2016. And we got married in 2018. And we actually started Management That Is. And so I'm sure a lot of you will see like MTI on our stuff. It actually stands for Management That Is. And when we're thinking of the name of our company, we always had a word that went after is. So, and it was our core values. And one of our core values is getting creative. So Management That Is creative. So from the very, very beginning, it has always been something that has been very true. I think that when we look at our business as a whole, we've been able to be flexible and adapt and pivot very quickly because of our creativity. So when we got into problems or we had things that, that were challenges, instead of maybe doing it the way that we always would do it, it was like, oh, well, let's think of a creative way to do that. And so the people that we've actually been bringing on our team, that is a huge core value as well, is to always look at, are these people creative? If we threw a problem in front of them, would they be able to creatively think of a solution? And that is something like Debbie is on today, and she's a realtor that helped us find and close a project. And she had to be creative and she had to think outside of the box. And there were things that we were throwing at her that she's like, whoa, I've never tried that before, but heck yeah, let's do it. And so just that excitement and the ability to be able to pivot and be flexible is super huge for us. And so Michael is actually going to be going through a little bit of our history on kind of where we started in our business. We also have a lot of ways in our life that we're creative with our kids, with things that we do within our family. And then one thing I just want to show you, I want to show you a picture before we move on to what Michael's going to share. And let me know if you guys can see it. You able to see that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is our house, was our backyard. We bought our house in 2018, right before we got married. And we love land. We love being able to have space. We love being able to not be pass sugar through our window to our next door neighbor. We love that we could invite our hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cousins and brothers and sisters and all of aunts and uncles to our property, and everyone has room to roam. And one thing that we didn't love about our property was this big, gigantic pool right in the middle of our yard. And when we first bought this property, there was this huge fence that surrounded it because, it's a liability to have a pool where somebody could just go and fall in. So this fence had to be created to be able to keep people safe. And so Michael and I put our heads together and we were like, what are our major concerns about our yard? And for us, it was this pool. We love that we had the idea of having a pool. but we love to entertain. And this did not allow us to entertain. When we had our first party, which was our wedding party, we had 10 girls and 10 guys that we asked to be in our wedding.
Yeah.
We had 20 people, 20 adults, plus our parents, and then like 50 kids, because everyone has like 5, 6 kids. And what we noticed was there was a division within the party, because the parents whose kids were swimming were inside the fence. The parents whose kids weren't swimming and doing slip and slides on the grass were outside of the fence. And there was just kind of this divide of the party. And so after that party, we were like, we got to get creative. This is not going to work for our life. Like, there is no separation. Like, we need everybody to be able to mingle and have fun together. And so Michael and I put our heads together. He asked his brother to come along on the project, who is absolutely phenomenal at the stuff that he does. And we created this. And so what it allowed, and we had this vision of, oh my gosh, we're going to have bands come play on the deck over the pool. And so we have a deck that is split in the middle, that in the winter, or when we do have events and we don't want people swimming, we're able to just shut that. It's not even a space that people can see. It's no longer a pool. It's just a dance floor. And so we're able to shut that. And when people want to swim and they want to enjoy, and I couldn't find a really good picture, but then we're able to push back that deck and it becomes our swimming space. It also becomes a way for kids to jump into the pool, which is absolutely phenomenal. So I just wanted to kind of throw that in, because not only are we creative in the projects that we take on as far as real estate, not only are we constantly creative in our marriage and how we're going to navigate that and, you know, in our kids' lives, but when things arise and we see that there's a problem, we just pivot and we're flexible. And so with that, I'm going to let Michael jump in and start sharing his presentation.
That was awesome. We weren't we were practicing separate places what we were going to do, so she was practicing, so I hadn't heard her intro yet. That was amazing. I was super excited. But yeah, what we wanted to do is go into our core value a little bit more and how we've used it in the real estate sector, kind of how our business has developed, and how always relying on that core value when we're making decisions has led us to where we are. And so when we started in real estate, we were doing fix and flips. We knew we wanted to quit our W-2s. At that point, we had our own construction company and our own project management company, but we were working for other people. So when we started looking for houses, we were having a hard time just finding projects that were going to work, that the budgets were working. Every time we would look at the traditional house, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, you know, at the time they were going for 150, you're trying to sell it at 250. You know, there's 10, 12, 20 flippers looking at the same house. And we were not having luck finding those houses. So right away, especially coming from a commercial construction background, our prices were way higher. Our construction costs, we weren't ready to bring down our costs yet. We really wanted to find something to make money on. So pretty quickly we pivoted and started looking at luxury housing, high-end housing, stuff that had a larger barrier to entry, so that we could position ourselves. We could use the construction contacts we had, because they were more high-end, more expensive, but there was a lot more buffer in there to find us. And as soon as we started looking at those, we found out not that many people were looking at those, right? So right away, we were able to find a niche in the market. We were making larger projects, less projects per year, but more profit per project, which was awesome. So it really kickstarted our company. We were able to move into that and kind of get into the fixing and flipping space. Fast forward 3 years later, you know, we're getting tired of the fix and flipping. We really want to go into multifamily. We joined Jake and Gino. We just light speed our education. At that time, you know, we were talking about what do we want to do. We had hit our goal for the year of revenue we needed to bring in, and we had about 3 months left in the year. And it was like, should we really push forward and spend our time flipping another house and maximizing the revenue, or let's take this time and shift our company? So we shut down fixing and flipping for 3 months and just shut it down and went into Jake and Gino. And I mean, me and Vanessa were studying 12, 18 hours a day, just going through the whole courses, going as fast as we could. And we were able to get up to speed really quickly in the multifamily space. So now we're ready to start looking at properties in the multifamily space. And we run into a similar situation that we did in the fix and flip. we start looking at the locations we want to buy and the existing multifamily, and we can't afford anything in the locations we want. Location is one of our biggest criteria, and we don't like to bend on that criteria. Like if we find something and we don't like the location, even if the numbers work, if everything else looks good but the location isn't there, we kind of have a checks and balances between myself and Vanessa that says, is this something that we want in our portfolio for long term? If not, I mean, we're not going to take it, right? So in the locations we wanted, the cap rates were so compressed that we couldn't find a multifamily deal that would work for us. So enter in, we start looking at abandoned buildings, not multifamily. We start looking at hospitals, hotels, office space, banks, schools. Just this whole other area came to life where we're looking at abandoned buildings that we could convert into multifamily. So we start leveraging a little bit of our previous expertise, which is large commercial construction. And we say, you know what, we can take these buildings and we can turn them into multifamily. And now we're able to enter the multifamily space at a lower cost basis. You know, that helps with our amount of capital we had on hand. But then we're also able to keep our criteria in place. We're able to get the locations we want by the time we're finished. So this creativity, you know, helped us pivot, but keep our location criteria in place. And so now we're finishing up just like our first project of our 7 units that we're doing from office space into multifamily. It's Class A. It's in a great location, and we're really proud of it. But more of it is we're looking at all the areas we want. There's bigger buildings, there's bigger things on the horizon that we're ready to go after, and we're really excited about that and kind of how we've levered into that. One of the other things that creativity helped us to do was when we found the building and we want to turn it into multifamily, we're having hangups at the banks, right? They want to give multifamily loans for value add, or they want to give construction loans as sort of a bridge lending and have you refinance out of the project whenever you're complete. With the way the market was headed and we were scared of the interest rates rising, we didn't want to get caught in a situation to where we're in this project for a year and a half, and now the interest rates catch us and we can't refinance out and our bridge debt catches us at that point. So we were able to work with the bank and leverage our construction portfolio and show them everything that we had been able to do to this point from a construction background. And they were able to create a loan program for us where they just gave us the multifamily debt up front. So they gave us long-term debt. We got a 10-year balloon, 30-year amortization at a 5% interest at the upfront of the project before we even started design or construction. They were able to give us a loan like that. And to do that, they bring their construction division and their multifamily division together, and they were able to accredit us based on our construction background and our portfolio that we'd put together to be able to accomplish that. So that was a really big win for us as well. And a lot of credit to Jake and Gino, right? Like we didn't know you could negotiate with the bank, but as soon as we got that education, we went to implement it and use it to our benefit, but based on our unique background, right? Here's the education that you get, and then use your strengths in your business to implement it. Don't implement it the way somebody else would. What are your strengths? What can you leverage? Use that to leverage into your business. So
I think that was what was awesome that Michael did as well is not only did we own the building and we were the general contractors on that specific project, when we got the loan, he actually built in our salaries. So we got paid throughout this whole project, our W-2 salary through the loan that we secured from the bank. So Michael was very creative in all of that and just making sure that we were able to still have that income coming in. The loan was paying us as the general contractor, project manager, all of that. And it was just beautiful.
Yeah. And the more we're learning in real estate, the more we're finding out that it's like I don't know how else to put it, but there's ways to print your own money and there's ways to create your own ecosystem. So after we found out we could do that, now it's a lot of our business model. We want to purchase our own projects that creates our job, and then our job creates our long-term wealth, right? Create our own W-2 and use our W-2 to create our portfolio that pays us into however long we want to hold on to it. So once we learn these concepts and we're not scared to use them, then it's up to as creative as you can get to create your own ecosystem that's making money for you on every angle, which is really awesome.
And John, yes, it was a community bank. We